there's a part in the book when you say that this is actually right now, it's just lining up two sides, a battle for the soul of business. Can you put that really, really succinctly for us? Like there's this side and there's that side.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we'll, I think, come back to this a few times about what's the kind of story, the narrative of the world that we're living in. And all of us have basically grown up in a world where the purpose of business is to maximize shareholder profits in the short run. And that's it. And the purpose of a government is the GDP or the stock market. And that's it. These very narrow measures. On the other side are people that want to build value over time, that want enterprises that serve the world and improve the well-being of everyone that they touch. I believe, and I think the data shows that those companies do outperform over time, but it's a different way of doing business. It's a fundamentally more human-centered, longer term, and multiple stakeholder. You care about more than just one group, the shareholders. It's fundamentally different.
And it does all come down to, I'm not sure all my life, or I since doing the Goodness Exchange, and I'm a champion of something I call the gratitude economy. It's this way that people are starting to, consumers, 69% identify themselves as values driven. And that is the gratitude economy that's developing. People are giving their business to people they're grateful for, people who are making the world a better place. And so I think we're at this juncture where most of us know that the stakeholders that most big businesses are constantly focusing on is shareholders. But talk to us just a little bit more for context, because it will come up over and over again. That this word stakeholders, that means the community where the plant is. That means the people in the supply chain that are little farmers in South America. Talk to me more about stakeholders.
Yeah. I mean, it really isn't rocket science. And if you go back before this kind of modern economic era, the idea that your business, your organization, the work you did served many people was not strange at all. It was kind of the norm. It really is a modern era economic thing starting around the early 70s to say, all you got to focus on is the market and shareholders. And so, by the way, I just think operating in a stakeholder way, not only is it just better business, I think it's more rewarding and more fun, in a business that you're actually thinking about. I mean, this sounds silly to say out loud, but your customers, like, what do they need? I mean, the purpose of a business, and you've seen like the great thinkers in business for years, like the Druckers of the world have said very simply, like, the purpose of a business is really to solve a problem. Find a customer that needs something and solve it for them. That's it, really. And the idea that your purpose is just to make money for investors means you could do anything, right? You could literally do anything. Illegal, legal, doesn't matter as long as it makes money. And the idea that you're serving customers and you're creating an environment for employees to make their livelihoods, to maybe spend their lives working for this organization, that you operate in communities that you should be contributing to, right? Not just through tax revenues, that is one way, but through the way you operate and the way you employ people and the way you treat them and your partners, your suppliers, your customers. And there's been a really deep change in what's expected of business in the last few years, more than I've seen in the previous 20. And a lot of it was circumstantial. The pandemic really kicked into high gear. This idea of, wow, we're all connected, and companies were faced a lot of tough questions. And the good ones like Unilever said, okay, we better help our suppliers and our customers survive this. If we've got more kind of cash at hand, we can help them, we can extend credit. There were all these kind of different conversations that happened about living in society, right? How are we taking care of our people in this health crisis? That's just a better way of doing business. And I think people will remember, right? The people will remember if their companies took care of them or not. The suppliers will remember, the customers, the communities, the governments that companies worked with, all of it. It is a tougher, more interesting, more complex, and just more rewarding way of doing business.